Okay, let's dive right into this. If you've ever wanted to play the character who fundamentally alters the fiction through chemistry, the one who masters nature's raw essences and holds literal life and death in a tiny glass vial, well, you are in exactly the right place. Welcome to our complete walkthrough of the Alchemist profession rules. Today we're breaking down the entire Alchemist laboratory rule module, giving you absolutely everything you need to bring this highly specialized, incredibly fun class to the table in this explainer.
We're going to approach this explainer like a day in the life. So we'll hit becoming an alchemist, harvesting in the wild, brewing and focus points, regional recipes, instability and mishaps, and finally, advanced alchemy.
Section 1. Becoming an alchemist, where we look at your core skills and profile.
So, armed with heavily weighted starting skills, you're looking at a massive +2 in alchemy knowledge, +1 in survival, and +1 in magic knowledge. Your reason for adventuring is actually going to completely shape your narrative. Why are you out roughing it instead of staying in a nice, comfortable lab? This module gives you some fantastic role-playing hooks to answer that. Maybe you're the seeker. You're desperately traveling the world looking for a mythical cure to a deadly disease, which means every rare root you scrape up is a literal matter of life and death. Or maybe you're in debt. You've borrowed huge amounts of silver from some very shady people to finance your incredibly expensive lab equipment, and now you've got to adventure just to pay them back so they don't break your legs.
Now, you obviously can't do chemistry without equipment. Your starting gear is surgically designed to support your class mechanics while carefully managing your burdened slots. You get an alchemy bag, taking 1 slot. This is your absolute lifeline, and we'll talk about exactly why in a moment. You also get an alchemy ritual kit, taking another slot, which is essential for brewing without eating penalties. Then there's a dagger, taking 0 slots. Sure, it's a light weapon, but let's be real, it's primarily your tool for cutting bark and roots. And finally, a thick leather work apron. It acts as light armor while taking up 1 slot. So every single piece of gear serves a distinct mechanical purpose.
Because you're a specialized class, you also get a really fantastic starting ability called Acute Catalyst. Once per scene, you can grant yourself a +2 bonus to identify an unknown substance, harvest in a dangerous environment, or, my personal favorite, brilliantly use a potion in an improvised way during combat, like smashing it as a distraction. But there's a catch. Because you are so hyper-specialized with that starting +2 in alchemy, your game master might actually invoke the price of power rule. This means you might be forced to take a starting limitation without getting any extra skill points in return. Think along the lines of a forbidden taboo regarding certain ingredients, or starting out as wanted because a past experiment went horribly, horribly wrong. Basically, you pay for your brilliance.
Section 2. Harvesting in the wild, or how you go about gathering your ingredients.
Generating your core resources actually follows a very simple, elegant mechanical loop. Step 1. You locate an area in the wild. Step 2. You make a roll using either your survival or your alchemy knowledge. And Step 3. On a success, you manage to harvest exactly 1 dose of ingredients. It's clean, it keeps the game moving, and it immediately gets you the fuel you need to do what your class does best.
But what's really interesting is what happens when you excel at this. If you beat the difficulty by an effect margin of +5, you are richly rewarded. You either get a whole extra dose of ingredients, or you stumble upon a rare ingredient. And rare ingredients are absolutely incredible, because they grant you an automatic +2 bonus on your next brewing attempt. Just remember, nature fades. These rare ingredients lose their magical bonus after 7 days, so you've got to use them quickly.
The wilds, however, are totally unforgiving. If you roll a natural 1, a fumble, while harvesting, you don't just fail. The Game Master rolls a 1d6 on a highly punishing complication table. You might make a toxic mix-up that slaps you with a -2 on your next brew. You might accidentally attract a dangerous predator. You could damage the local ecosystem, tanking your reputation with a local faction. You might even get splashed with acid, losing hit points and gaining the nauseous condition, or contract a magical curse from an unstable plant. Mistakes out here definitely have teeth.
Section 3. Brewing and focus points. This right here is the core mechanic.
So the crucial takeaway here is the concept of FP binding. Whenever you create a potion, it literally binds up your focus points. You are investing your own magical energy to stabilize the concoction, and that focus point does not come back to you when you rest. Nope. It only returns when the potion is actually consumed, when it's physically destroyed, or when it naturally decays after 7 days. You cannot game the system by brewing 100 potions and selling them. If you give them away or sell them, your magical energy stays locked inside them. This is the absolute balancing factor of the class, and it is a game changer.
Let's break down the actual cost and time involved.
A standard brewing session takes one shift, meaning 4 to 8 hours of uninterrupted work in a quiet place using your ritual kit. A simple brew has a difficulty value between 12 and 15, and it locks up one focus point. A medium brew bumps the difficulty to between 16 and 18, locking up 2 focus points. And a strong, highly potent brew requires beating a massive 19 to 21 difficulty, draining 3 focus points right out of your pool.
You also have to fiercely protect your investment. Remember that alchemy bag from your starting gear? Well, this is exactly why it's vital. Unprotected potions are incredibly fragile. If you're just carrying them loosely in your pockets and you take a hard fall, suffer fire or ice damage, wade waist-deep through a river, or get hit by heavy magic, those potions will shatter. The alchemy bag safely stores either 5 doses of raw ingredients, 3 finished potions, or a mix of both, shielding your hard-earned work from the absolute chaos of adventuring.
Section 4. Regional Recipes. Let's look at some powerful concoctions.
We've talked a lot about the rules and the setup, but I know exactly what you're wondering. What can you actually brew? Let's take a look at 4 specific regional recipes provided in the rule set that really showcase the versatility of your lab. We're talking about incredible mechanical benefits that can literally turn the tide of a whole campaign. First up, Torre's Bark Powder. It's a simple brew costing 1 FP. It immediately stops light bleeding and gives the user +1 resistance for the rest of the scene. Next is the Catch Mist Elixir from the Eldergate region. Also 1 FP, this is basically liquid adrenaline. It grants +2 initiative for a scene, letting your rogue or fighters strike first. Then, for 2 FP, you can brew the Extinguish Serum. This is a straight-up offensive weapon. The target makes a willpower defense save, and if they fail, they fall completely asleep. Finally, we have the Bone Scrub from the Taugtok faction, another 2 FP brew that literally hardens your skin, granting +1 armor against physical damage for an entire scene.
But, as you'd expect, true alchemy always comes at a price. These amazing buffs feature deep role-playing flavor and real consequences if you push them too hard. The game calls this the side effect or risk. For instance, if you use that bone scrub to boost your armor, your skin turns pale and bone-like, slapping you with a -1 penalty on all first impressions and social rolls. Or, if you use the Extinguish Sleep Serum, it leaves a highly recognizable gray tone on your lips and fingertips, making it super obvious to any guard or assassin exactly who just poisoned the king. These narrative costs ensure that alchemy isn't just a spreadsheet, it's a living, breathing part of the story.
Section 5. Instability and mishaps. In other words, when things go horribly wrong. See, if you roll a natural 1 on your brewing check, your ingredients are instantly consumed and the Game Master gets to roll a 1d20 on a highly detailed mishap table. Rolling a 1 through 6 results in a severe mishap. 7 through 12 triggers complications, think corrosive steam or attracting vermin to your lab. 13 through 17 means the potion is unstable, so maybe it binds double the focus points or has a delayed effect. And interestingly, an 18 to 20 yields unexpected outcomes. Sometimes you get a byproduct back, or the potion works perfectly, but with a massive, genuinely weird side effect.
And this brilliantly illustrates just how high the stakes really are. If the Game Master rolls a 1 on that table, boom, explosion, your flask shatters violently and you take 1d6 hit points of pure fire damage right there in the lab. Other severe mishaps include misbinding, which permanently drains 1 focus point for an entire scene without even giving you a potion, or a mishap that forces you to actually take a point of damage and become nauseous just to save the bubbling brew from overflowing. I'm telling you, being an alchemist is not for the faint of heart.
Section 6. Advanced Alchemy and Heroic Abilities.
Now, once you start spending experience points, you can unlock hero and signature abilities that fundamentally break the basic rules we just learned. Master Brewer allows you to stabilize potions so they don't bind your focus points anymore, though keep in mind it costs double the raw ingredients to pull that off. Quick Distillation lets you prepare a raw extract during a rest and then actually finish brewing it right in the middle of combat as a main action. And Master of Stability removes that pesky 7-day decay timer entirely. Your potions now last an entire season, which allows you to stockpile a massive arsenal for a long campaign.
The Alchemist is a class of high risk, high reward, and immense creativity. You're managing fragile resources, balancing the focus points of your very soul, and holding the power to completely change the battlefield. So I leave you with this final thought as you sit down to prepare your character sheet. Which brew will be the one to save your party in their darkest hour, and which one is going to accidentally blow up the local tavern? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy brewing!